Well, CBN chief political analyst David Brody is joining us. And David, it sounds like the battle's on. If we got a taste of it with Kavanaugh, what are you expecting to happen on this?
Yeah, Gordon, Brett Kavanaugh may look like child's play after all of this. And that's not good because we know how bad it got, really bad with Brett Kavanaugh. And look, Nancy Pelosi says she's got some quivers in the arrow. We're about to find out. But here's the truth of the matter. Procedurally, Democrats can't do a thing. I mean, their strategy at this point is called scared straight, and basically trying to get Republicans, a few of them, a handful, to get scared straight to say, look, if you do this, we're going to blow up the Senate next year if we get control. And so that's what they're trying to do, persuade their colleagues. How would they blow it up, Gordon? Lots of different ways. You heard a little bit of that at the end as it relates to maybe eliminating the legislative filibuster that takes 60 votes. Of course, we've heard about packing the court, adding as much as up to 13 Supreme Court justices. And then don't forget statehood on the table for D.C. and Puerto Rico. That would be potentially four new senators, most likely Democrat senators. And so this is the road that we could be going down, according to Democrats, if Republicans go with this move.
Well, aren't they all just sort of nuclear options, aren't they? I mean, FDR was the last one that tried to pack the court, and as popular as he was as a president, he found out he couldn't do it, and actually cost him politically. He wasn't able to get legislation through because he attempted to pack the court. Aren't they at all afraid there could be a backlash if they do that?
Sure, you're absolutely right. But let's also remember, this all started, if you think about it, back in 2013. And we remember those stories. I was reporting on it, and we were covering it here at the 700 Club when Harry Reid and the Democrats decided to eliminate the filibuster on federal appeals court judges. That was at 60. They said, no, we want these federal appeals court judges confirmed, so we're going down to 50. And then Mitch McConnell, when the Republicans gained control, eliminated the filibuster for Supreme Court nominees. And so if Republicans go ahead and take this step, that's the third of the potential fourth step, because the fourth step could be Democrats doing everything we just talked about.
All right. Well, the Republicans have to hold together, and two Republican senators, one from Maine, one from Alaska, have already said they're against it. Are there any others who are on the fence?
Well, everybody's looking at Mitt Romney. Now, so it's just so we can do the quick math, and I wasn't a big math fan, but I think I can do this. 53 Republican senators, you can only lose 3, because if you get to 50, Mike Pence, the Republican vice president, would break a tie, so you're okay there. So you can only lose 3. You're going to lose Lisa Murkowski. You're going to lose Susan Collins. You probably will lose Mitt Romney. That's my sense of it. That takes you to 50. You cannot lose one more Republican senator. Everybody's looking at Cory Gardner in Colorado. He's the wild card. He's the one to watch, Gordon. He's in a very tough battle against John Hickenlooper out in Colorado for the Senate seat. And so the question is, what is Cory Gardner going to do? I don't want to get into all of the politics here, but I'll just say this, that the concern with Cory Gardner is that he wants to kind of break away from Trump. Well, this would be a good way to do that, to break away from Trump. At the same time, he needs the Republican base to win a second term. So all eyes on Cory Gardner, I think, going forward.
Well, let's get into the politics, because I think this is ultimately is what it's going to come down to. This is an election year. The Senate is at stake. It's not just the executive branch. If the Republicans don't hold together and don't get this done, isn't there going to be a backlash from the base against anyone that defects?
Oh, 100%, Gordon. You're absolutely right. And so then it kind of brings up this big question of, when do Republicans move on this? I mean, there's no question they're going to move on it. As a matter of fact, the president most likely will be nominating a Supreme Court justice here in the next day or two, later this week. The question is, does Mitch McConnell have the vote before the election or after? Of course, a lot depends on Cory Gardner and all the politics involved, but there's a political calculation, too, about if you hold the vote before or after. You know, the sense, at least from my political analysis standpoint, I think you have to hold the vote before. I mean, if you hold the vote after, I mean, you really are rolling the dice. I mean, what if Donald Trump doesn't win? What if the election there isn't no certain outcome? I mean, then you're really, talk about politics. then you're really looking political. You're already looking political, but you'll even look more political if you do it in a lame duck session.
Well, any insight on the nominees? We've heard about two prominent ones. Any others in the mix that we should know about?
I'll go out on a limb and say I think the pick's going to be Amy Coney Barrett. She's the consensus pick, I think, overall inside the White House, and quite frankly, outside the White House. There's finally kind of at the end here a new push for Barbara Lagoa. She's got a great story. Her parents came over from Cuba. We know you'll know more of that story if indeed she's picked. And Donald Trump loves a good story. But Amy Coney Barrett has checks way too many of the boxes that Donald Trump would probably enjoy. Number one, she's beloved by evangelicals in legal circles. Conservatives love her. She clerked for Antonin Scalia. She is a known commodity. Barbara Lagoa is not a known commodity, especially on the abortion issue. I think that ultimately may be the deciding factor here. And so I know there's been a lot of talk about Barbara Lagoa being from Florida, and Trump could maybe win Florida if he picks Barbara Lagoa. And yes, politics is involved. But the truth of the matter is, I think he'll go with Amy Coney Barrett. Remember, she was a runner-up last time. Brett Kavanaugh was a runner-up to Neil Gorsuch last time as well. So I think this is the standard play. That's my expectation is what you'll see. By the way, she's got a great story, too, Amy Coney Barrett, mother of 7 children, pro-life Roman Catholic. She'll be the first to admit it. And one of her children has Down syndrome. And actually, she found out that the child had Down syndrome while she was pregnant, had the child, obviously, anyhow. And she has also adopted 2 children from Haiti. So she's got a great story to tell, too.
All right. Well, you've got a great story to tell, too, David. I mean, this is going to be full contact politics. This is blood sport time, and I think there are going to be casualties in the wake of it. David, thanks for the insight, and we look forward to future